Mr. Mitchell? Good morning. Welcome to probate court number 2. I can't hear you. Good morning. Welcome to probate court number 2. Now you're frozen. If you're joining us live on Facebook, this is probate court number 2 in Tarrant County, Texas. I'm Judge Brooke Allen. I want you to know that any types of recording are prohibited by Texas law. Mr. Mitchell, I know you're working on audio. If you need to, the invitation came with a phone number. So you can leave your computer on, you can dial that phone number and your audio will come through the phone and then of course your video through the computer. I actually had to do that the other day. Mr. Mitchell, you're frozen now. Mr. Mitchell? Mr. Mitchell, you may have to go out and come back in. You're moving now, so that's a better sign. Did you hear me that you can call in for sound? It says it's connecting. It says you're connected to audio and I've got you on mute. So maybe if I unmute you, Mr. Mitchell?
Your Honor, we can hear you now. Can you hear us?
Yes, wonderful.
This thing worked fine the other day, so anyway.
That's what happened to me. And then I came in on I don't know, worked fine last Friday, then Friday it didn't work. And so I actually had to call on the phone for audio and then video through the computer. It was a mess, but
okay.
But welcome to probate court number 2. As I mentioned, for anybody that is watching us on YouTube, where we are live streaming, that recordings are prohibited by law. So, Mr. Mitchell, you have your witness with you, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor, this is David Patton. And for the court's information, Mr. Patton is an attorney. And
okay.
But he is our witness and our independent executor.
Okay, and so I appreciate you filing the hearing letter. So you have a notary with you, or you are a notary?
I am a notary, Your Honor.
Okay, so would you like to swear him in, please?
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Patton, would you raise your right hand? Do you swear that the testimony you're going to give in this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
I do.
Thank you. May we proceed, Your Honor?
Please.
Okay. Mr. Patton, would you please state your name for the court?
David Joe Patton.
And what was your relationship to the decedent?
He was my father.
Okay. And did Joe Bailey Patton die on or about February 9th, 2020 at Tarrant County, Texas?
He did.
And was he age 91? And did he reside in Mansfield, Tarrant County, Texas before and at the time of his death?
He was, and he did.
Okay. And to your knowledge, did he die without ever revoking his will, which was dated October 10th, 2016?
He did not revoke.
Okay. And are you familiar with his signature?
I am.
And the court, I believe, is holding the original of the will. I'm going to show you a true and correct copy of the will. And you're familiar with his signature. Do you recognize this as the signature of Joe Bailey Patton?
It is.
Okay. And At the time, is it true that after he wrote this will, he did not have any child born to him and he did not adopt any children?
That is correct.
And at the time he executed the will, in your opinion, was he of sound mind? And obviously he was over 18 years of age.
Yes,
And is it true that he did not have a marriage dissolved after the date he wrote the will?
that's correct.
He was not married when he wrote the will. His wife had predeceased him,
She did.
and he did not remarry. And obviously 4 years have not elapsed between the time he died and the date we filed this application. Is that true?
That's correct.
And is it true that the will does not name the state of Texas or any charity to receive anything?
That's correct.
And at the time of his death, did he own property valued at around or a little over $450,000, primarily in Tarrant County?
Yes,
And is there a necessity to administer the estate?
yes,
And does the will appoint you, David Joe Patton, to serve as independent executor?
it does.
And we have discussed things that would disqualify a person from serving as an executor. So I'll ask you, have you ever been convicted of a felony or a crime of moral turpitude?
No,
And have you ever been judged in a court of law to be a person lacking legal capacity?
no,
And is there any other reason why you should not serve as independent executor?
no,
And so are we asking the court to admit the will to probate as an independent administration and name you as independent executor?
that is my request.
That's all we have, Your Honor.
Mr. Patton, did you take the original will to Mr. Mitchell?
I did.
And to your knowledge, did he bring that to the court and file it with the court?
He did.
Okay. I am going to try and share my screen with you. I want you to take a look at what's on the screen and verify whether or not what I'm showing you, which purports to be the original will, is the same as what you have looked at as far as a copy.
Okay, Your Honor.
Can you see my screen now?
Yes,
Is that, you believe those to be his initials at the bottom?
yes,
And does this look like the original that you delivered to Mr. Mitchell?
it does.
Okay, and Mr. Mitchell, you had it delivered to the court, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. I will find that Joe Bailey Patton was a resident of Tarrant County when he passed away, and you have proved up his will in accordance with Texas law. I'll admit his will to probate, and I'll find that you're a proper person to serve as independent executor. So do you, David Joe Patton, solemnly swear that the writing which has been offered for probate is the last will and testament of Joe Bailey Patton, so far as you know or believe, and will you well and truly perform all the duties of independent executor of his will and his estate?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. You are going to sign your oath and your testimony with Mr. Mitchell. He'll notarize and file it with the court. Mr. Mitchell, I'm going to sign the order. And so you'll receive an order, and you should also receive the little packet that goes to independent executors. And Mr. Patton, I trust you're going to continue to work with Mr. Mitchell on this.
I am. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
And Your Honor, did you want to observe him signing the oath and the order?
And you're
You're
going to notarize it, correct, since you're there?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, that's good. All right, we'll look for that in the file, and you should be able to get your letters once those are filed.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank y'all. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Good morning, Mr. Jennings. Good morning. Mr. Jennings?
Yes, just a moment.
Okay. Before we get started, if you do another one of these on your hearing letters, will you please let me know who's joining us and if there's a notary and everything? So can you let me know that now? Is the client, are we waiting for your client to join us by Zoom, or is the client at your office?
I have the applicant, Joy Melody Gann, here with me, and I also have a notary with me, Paula Beal.
Okay, thank you. Are y'all ready?
We are ready.
Okay, we are live streaming on YouTube. Welcome to Probate Court number 2 in Tarrant County, Texas. Any other recording is prohibited. The court has the legal proceeding recording, and no other type is allowed by law. Mr. Jennings, who do you have with you today?
I have the applicant, Joy Melody Gann, who I can bring on camera as soon as we're ready to hear testimony. And then I also have Paula Beal, who's a notary public.
Okay. If Ms. Beal will swear her in, please, and I'm happy to say the oath if Ms. Beal wants to repeat after me, and Ms. Gann will need to raise her right hand.
I'll bring her down here just one moment.
Okay.
Go sit down.
Good morning.
So she can see you.
Screen is frozen a little bit. May work itself out, or y'all may have to come back in. Mr. Jennings? There y'all are.
There we go.
It was
Are we back?
frozen. Are you Miss Gann?
Okay, sorry.
Are you Miss Gann?
I am Paula, the notary.
Oh, okay.
Does she want me over there?
Would you like the applicant?
Well, as long as y'all can verify she's raising her right hand, and then if Paula, if you'll repeat after me.
Okay.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth,
Do you swear and affirm to tell the truth,
Yes.
the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
All right, thank you. If Miss Gann will please take a seat now.
All right, come on around. Go the other way. Got the cord here.
Mr. Jennings, we are freezing up quite a bit. Mr. Jennings. All right, Ms. Gann, you were previously sworn, and this is freezing up. So if it freezes up during the answers, I may have to ask them again.
Okay.
All right, go ahead, Mr. Jennings.
All right, thank you, Your Honor. Would you please state your name?
Joy Melody Gann.
And were you personally acquainted with the decedent, William Sidney White?
Yes.
And was he also known by the name Bill White?
Yes.
And what was your relationship to Mr. White?
We were friends. We played bridge together.
Did Mr. White die on February 1st of this year in Arlington, Tarrant County, Texas, at the age of 75?
Yes.
So 4 years have not elapsed since the date of his death and the filing of this probate proceeding. Is that correct?
Yes.
Was Mr. White domiciled and with a fixed place of residence in Tarrant County at the time of his death?
Yes.
Now I'm going to refer you to the document that's right there before you. It is a photocopy of the will that was filed with the probate court here in Tarrant County. Do you recognize that document?
Yes.
That purports to be Mr. White's last will and testament, correct?
Yes.
Is that Mr. White's signature to the document? Can you verify that?
Yes.
To the best of your knowledge, did Mr. White ever revoke that will?
That is correct. He did not.
All right. After the date of the will, were any children born to or adopted by him?
No.
After the date the will was made, no marriage of his was ever dissolved?
Correct.
A necessity exists for administration of his estate. Is that correct?
Yes.
The will appoints you to serve as an independent executor without bond. Do you know of any reason why you're not qualified to serve as executor and accept letters testamentary?
I do not.
You've never been convicted of a felony?
Correct.
You've never been adjudicated mentally incompetent by any court?
Correct.
Does the will make any gifts to the state of Texas, any governmental agency of Texas, or any charitable organization?
It does not.
That's all I have.
Okay. Ms. Gann, do you live here in Texas?
Yes,
Okay. And is the will dated February 8th, 2010?
Right over here on the last page.
yes,
And Ms. Gann, were you in possession of the original will?
no.
Who was in possession of it?
Carrie Jennings.
Okay, so you never had to deliver it to Mr. Jennings. You just called him and asked, let him know you wanted to probate the will. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay. And it's your understanding that Mr. Jennings delivered the original to the court. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And have you seen the original?
I have seen it.
Okay. I'm going to share my screen with you, and then I'd like you to look at what I'm going to show you and let me know if you believe that that is the original will.
Okay.
Does that look to be Mr. White's signature?
Yes,
Does that look to be Mr. White's signature?
yes,
And is this the same as the copy that you were looking at today?
yes,
And Mr. Jennings, you had this original delivered to the court. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you. I will find that William Sidney White was a resident of Tarrant County when he passed away, and you have approved of his will in accordance with Texas law. I'll admit his will to probate, and I'll find you a proper person to serve as independent executrix. So, Ms. Gann, if you'll raise your right hand again, do you swear or affirm not to tell the truth? Do you swear or affirm that the original will is the last will and testament of William Sidney White, so far as you know or believe, and will you well and truly perform all the duties of independent executrix of his will and his estate?
yes,
Okay. You're going to sign your oath and you're going to sign your testimony. It's going to be notarized, and Mr. Jennings will file it with the court. I'm going to sign the order that will come to Mr. Jennings, and he will be able to get his letters. Mr. Jennings, we're going to send you a copy of the order as well as the package that we typically give to independent executrixes. And Ms. Gann, I trust you're going to continue to work with Mr. Jennings.
yes.
All right. I appreciate y'all joining us by Zoom today, and I hope that you stay healthy and have a good rest of your week.
Well, Your Honor, thank you for accommodating us in this fashion. We appreciate it. Will the letters be mailed to my office?
I think that's how the clerk is doing that. I'm not going to say if they're going to scan, but that will be a question for the clerk. They'll either mail them or they might scan and print them, but I'm not positive. But they will get them to you. And you're frozen again. I think every time y'all move, you are frozen. I can't hear you or see you.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. They will get them to you. I'm not sure exactly how.
Okay. All right. We'll follow up with the clerk's office. Thank you.
All right. Thank you all. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
You too.
Good morning, Mr. Shutt.
Mr. Pop here as well.
Yes, Mr. Pop, how are you?
I'm doing well, thankfully.
Good. Well, a few disclaimers. Welcome to Probate Court number 2 in Tarrant County, Texas. We are live streaming on YouTube today, and any recordings are prohibited by law other than the official recording of the court. And as I understand it, you two are it.
That's right, Your Honor.
Okay.
The decedent was a longtime client of our firm, and so Mr. Pop's going to deliver the testimony.
Okay. Mr. Shutter,
I'm a notary. I can swear him in.
that would be great. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Pop, if you could stand.
I might not be in the picture.
I was gonna say, you know what? For this hearing, y'all may remain seated.
Okay,
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Pop, if you could raise your right hand. You do swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
And Mr. Pop, go ahead and state your full name for the court.
My name is Henry B. Pop. I'm an attorney here in Fort Worth, and I reside in Tarrant County, Texas, and I've known the decedent for over 40 years, and but I'm not related to her in any way otherwise.
Okay, and did Mrs. Thomas die on February 13th, 2020 here in Fort Worth, Texas?
Yes, she did.
And was she 96 years of age at the time of her death?
She was 96 years of age.
And have 4 years passed since the time of her death?
No, they have not.
And Mrs. Thomas, was her domicile her fixed place of residence here in Tarrant County at the time of her death?
It was.
This document I'm showing you dated August 18th, 1995. You recognize this as a true and complete copy of the last will and testament of Mrs. Thomas?
That is a true and correct copy. It's a photocopy, of course. And those are her initials on every page.
Is that her signature there on the concluding page of the will?
On page 13, that is her signature.
And is that your signature there on the self-proving affidavit?
That is
Or
her
her
signature, and I've witnessed both her execution of the will and the self-proving affidavit.
Okay. And was she at least 18 years of age and sound mind when she signed that will?
Yes, very much.
And did she ever revoke that will that you're aware of?
I'm not aware of that.
And there is a necessity for the formal administration of this estate. Is that true?
Yes, due to the size of this estate and the complexity, there will definitely need an administration.
And were any children born to or adopted by Mrs. Thomas after she signed that will?
No, they were not.
And was any marriage of hers ever dissolved after signing that will?
No, she survived her husband who died many years before.
And the will, it did not name a devise to the state or any governmental agency. Is that correct?
It did not.
But it does contain a devise to a charitable
It
organization.
does.
And the will names her son, Mark Philip Thomas, to serve without bond as independent executive. Is that true?
That is correct.
And you know Mr. Thomas personally, and he's also a client. Is that right?
I've also represented him for some 40 years, and I'm unaware of anything like that.
And so he's over 18 himself,
He very much
and
is.
he's a resident here in the state of Texas.
He very much is.
And has he ever been convicted of a felony?
Again, because of my close relationship with him, I'm unaware of anything like that.
And has he ever been declared incapacitated by this court or any other court?
No, he is not.
Okay, I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Mr. Pop, who had the original will?
Mr. Thomas did.
Okay. Did he bring that to you?
He did.
Okay. And did you or Mr. Shutt cause that to be filed with the clerk of the court?
I believe that's correct. I think Aaron did.
Okay. I'm going to show you what we have as the original will, and I want you to let me know if that looks like the original and the same as the copy that you have just proved up. And I noticed, I believe you are a witness to this will as well.
That is correct.
Let me share my screen. Oh, that is the order. All right, Mr. Pop or Mr. Shutt, I'll ask both of you. Does this look like the original will with the initials?
Those are my initials, and we had a secretary at the time named Callie Porce, who initialed underneath me and was witness to the will as well.
All right. And does this look to be the original will?
It very much does.
It does, Your Honor.
Okay. And there's Ms. Thomas's signature.
Identical.
Okay, and your signature.
That's correct.
All right. And again, hers and your signature, correct?
And it was notarized by one of the legal assistants we had in the office at the time.
Thank you. Okay, I am going to ask you to file an affidavit or an unsworn declaration by Mr. Thomas of his qualifications. But I will find that you have proved up the original will, and I'll admit the will to probate. And subject to his either affidavit or unsworn declaration, I will appoint Mr. Thomas as an independent executor.
Your Honor, a question we had was how do we actually obtain the letters testamentary themselves?
So once you file that, let Steve know that you filed it so I can sign the order, and the order will go to the clerk. You'll sign your testimony today, and then once I sign the order, he'll have to sign his oath. Once all of that is filed, the clerk will either probably mail you your letters, but I have a feeling they may be doing some emailing of letters if they have those capabilities, but the clerk will get you those letters.
Okay.
Your Honor, if we have Mr. Thomas come by this afternoon and do what we call a drive-by shooting, where he stands out in the driveway and we hand him a clipboard and he signs the oath and the affidavit, will that be okay, or do we have to wait for some action on your part?
Typically, they sign the oath after the order, but as long as it's all dated today, and if you'll get that to Steve earlier than later, then we can get it all done.
Okay.
Yes, Your Honor, we'll get it right over to get that done.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thank y'all. Have a good rest of your week.
You
Thank
too.
you, Your Honor.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate it.
Bye.